Jenna. Welcome back, and today we're going to be talking about how to read your labels, how to stock your pantry, and some food items you can look for to start your plant-based journey. So you're going to want to basically make sure that you're getting all the nutrients while you're eating plant-based that you need. To do that, basically the easiest way to do it is to create a plate that is very colorful. So the more colors you have on your plate, the better off you're going to be nutrient-wise. Protein-wise, because that seems to be a big concern for people who aren't familiar with plant-based diets. There's literally protein in everything, but you are going to want to eat higher protein foods as well, just to make sure that you're getting what you do need. You don't need as much as people think, like you don't need a ton every day. You're not going to be protein deficient as long as you're getting in enough calories. So look at your beans, your legumes, green peas have a high protein content, quinoa has a high protein content, tofu products, meat replacers. There's lots of things out there for you to do. So a good place to start, if you're curious about the nutrients that you need or are concerned about certain ones specifically, Bite-Sized Vegan is one of my favorite YouTubers that is educational videos. She puts out all kinds of wonderful information, and she has an entire series on plant-based nutrition. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel today. Go check out her channel after you're finished with this video and look up some information online. There's tons out there. So veganuary.com, again, they have some wonderful information on recipes, how to eat plant-based, and if you have questions, I'm sure that they'll have answers there, or comment below and I will answer all your questions. So let's move on to how to stock your pantry. I personally would say your first couple of months, go for convenience, okay? Now, I'm not saying eat junk food, because you can be a vegan and plant-based and eat complete junk and you're not going to feel good, okay? So the point of taking a challenge for 30 days is to help you feel better. And it's, well, to help a lot of different things. There's many reasons to take this challenge, but the main goal, I feel, is for you to also feel better by the time you're done. So you know that it's affecting you positively, all right? So that means don't eat junk food, okay? And I'm not saying never. I like my bag of chips every now and again too, but don't make that your staples, okay? And that includes processed foods. However, and I'm going to say a big however, when I first went vegan, one of my biggest struggles was planning out meals. Because when I wasn't vegan, and I think many people do this, it's what protein, i.e. what meat, are we going to put on our plate? And then what veggie are we going to have as a side? And maybe we'll have a grain or a starch with it. And that's pretty much how I meal planned. So, and I think that's how most people do it. They get confused when they go plant-based because there's no protein element. So you don't have to just be like, oh, well, all I can have is rice and salads and no, pastas, potatoes, all the veggies on the planet. You can roast them, broil them, saute them, grill them. I mean, my husband's not opposed to taking the grill out even though it's snowing outside right now. So, you know, there's a lot of ways that you can do all kinds of things, and beans and tofu and, oh my gosh, the amount of meat replacements that you can find these days. You can find, Gardein makes an amazing meat replacer of anything you can find. They're one of my favorite brands. You can get fish sticks, you can get burgers, you can get ribs now, like little riblets. You can get meatballs and chicken of all kinds, chicken nuggets, chicken breasts. Pretty much you name it, you're going to be able to find it vegan, okay? And I think that's one of my biggest, the thing that I found the most fun was that I took it as a challenge. Anything that you can make that's not vegan, you can make vegan. So you can make anything plant-based, anything. I challenge you to find one thing I can't do as a plant-based recipe. Seitan is another thing that most people are not familiar with that is a protein source. It's considered a protein source. I say that because it's like a protein replacer. So like you can make steak out of it. You can make, I mean, pretty much anything. Fried chicken. Yeah. So there's a lot of options. You just have to find the right websites, the right recipes that suit your tastes, okay? I'm gonna list a bunch of my favorites down below. The Vegan 8 is a wonderful blog that has amazing recipes and all with 8 ingredients or less. I think they all actually have 8 ingredients, but yeah, very good. By the way, tortilla soup, that was one of my very first vegan recipes that I made. It is amazing. Hot for Food on YouTube. Amazing recipes. Haven't made one yet that I haven't loved, okay? Edgy Veg, if you want to go with a few more like fast food type alternatives, she'll teach you how to make fried chicken, okay? She'll teach you how to make a Big Mac, plant-based. So there's lots of options out there. So, okay, moving on. How to read labels. I'm going to take you to the store with me today, and I'm going to show you a few things to look for, a few brands that you can look for. I'll show you the Gardein products that we have, and it's just a very short trip, so let's get going to see that right now. See you soon. So here we have turkey slices by Tofurkey, smart ground, which is like a ground beef, some sausages, hot dogs, and tempeh, which is another fun protein to explore. Lots of greens, spinach, cut leaf kale, which is one of our favorites, collard greens, another favorite. I like mixing in the mustard greens. Boca makes a vegan option for a burger. Morningstar has both vegetarian and vegan options, so make sure that you're looking at the package to get the vegan ones. They have several products, though, that are vegan, to include these hickory barbecue riblets. Really good. Gardein, one of my favorite brands, fish fillets, chicken strips, beef tips, which are really good. They've got crispy chicken. They've got meatless meatballs. They've got crispy chicken tenders. They've got chicken sliders, which those are super good. And they have tons more, but just not featured. Amy's Pizza, super yummy. You can always add cheese to it if you really want to, some vegan cheese. Kashi came out with these vegan bowls that are really delicious. Amy's has several vegan options. This is one of them, one of their burritos. And they list if it's vegan or vegetarian next to the ingredients list there. See on the top where it says vegan in parentheses? This is another one of Amy's. It's the black bean vegetable enchiladas, very yummy. And they have lots of items. So just look at the back of the packaging and read the labels. Gevalia came out with these almond milk iced coffees that are delicious. And there's lots and lots of plant milk options. There's flax milk. This is one of my favorite, the silk almond dark chocolates. They have soy milk. They have sweetened and vanilla and unsweetened. They have almond milks. They have coconut milks. Silk is our favorite brand in this house. They even have a chocolate soy milk available at our store. They also have other brands, so Almond Breeze. And this is just the refrigerated section. There's also the Tetra Pak section where you can get plant milks that are not refrigerated right away, and those last a long time. Hummus is another favorite in this house. Comes in lots of flavors, and there's tons of brands to look at for hummus. Daiya cheese makes both cheddar and mozzarella style shreds. A lot of people wonder what's in Daiya cheese or in plant cheeses in general. This one features things like tapioca, pea protein, which is high in protein. And then there's also, you've got your vegan butters. Earth Balance is the brand we use. I like the organic, but it is all oils, just like any other margarine's probably going to be. They do have a soy-free version as well, so keep a lookout for that. Here we've got lots of plant ice creams. There's soy ice creams, coconut-based ice creams, in all kinds of flavors. And if you live stateside, you're lucky enough that you probably have sections and rows of ice cream to pick from. This is one of my favorite sections, the wraps. Just make sure, like for wheat wraps, you want to look at the labels, make sure there's no honey in them. Honey is not vegan. So just something to look at. Another fun snack option are these popped chips. You can look at different bagels. People think, oh, there's always egg in bagels. There is not always egg in bagels. And these ones are one that my daughter likes, the blueberry, but they come in several flavors. So Rudy's is a brand of bread that we particularly like. Now you have to be careful with breads. A lot of companies add milk to their breads for no apparent reason. Most of Rudy's stuff is vegan. There's no milk, no egg. You don't need either to make bread, so there's that. They do have a honey sweetened wheat, so obviously that's a no-go because it has honey in it. This is one of the wheat options that we like, the whole wheat.
And as you can see, it has whole wheat on the label. You don't want to see something that just says wheat. You want to make sure that it says whole wheat. They also have hot dog and hamburger options. This is one of the ways I like to buy fruit, by the case, and it is much cheaper. And this is another one of your accidentally vegan items. Guess what this one is? That's right, if you didn't guess already, it is vegetarian chili, which just happens to be vegan. It's just labeled vegetarian. There's nothing in there, though, that would make it not vegan. However, you do have to look at some items that you wouldn't necessarily think have milk or eggs in them. For example, these breadcrumbs. Plain breadcrumbs, who knew? So, nope, none of those. Same thing with Jiffy corn mix. And you see how on the bottom, if you've noticed, a lot of things will be highlighted for allergens, but that doesn't always mean that it's not vegan. That one, for example, the cornbread mix had lard in it. Not okay. So this is a cake mix that you can see is actually vegan. There's nothing in it that would say that it's not. Again, you would never be surprised. This is milk chocolate, and it says may contain milk ingredients. That just means that it was made in a factory that also makes things that do have milk in it. But don't think that that crosses brands. This brand, for example, does contain milk, and it states that. However, they have a dark chocolate fudge option, same brand, that does not contain milk. So you just have to read labels. It can get a little bit tricky, but for the most part, you'll be good. Now, if you're going to buy things like canned beans, I highly recommend that you go for one that has a non-BPA lining. If you didn't know that most cans do actually have a lining of BPA. Not okay. Pastas. Pastas can be tricky, but most are good to go. I like personally to buy things that have like the corn, the quinoa pastas. As you can see, it's very simple ingredients. It's simply corn and quinoa flour. I like those because they're higher in protein, so it's not really quote-unquote junky food as opposed to some of the plain flour pasta. This one's a spelt option, and as you can see on the top here, it is just spelt. Whole grain spelt. That's it. If you don't like that and you rather have a regular pasta, this one is good to go, and there are plenty out there that are. This brand is also okay, and it is the very popular Barilla. But you need to look at the things like the Protein Plus. It is not. So you can see here it has egg whites. So just read labels. You notice the egg here is not actually in bold like on most packages. So on the bottom it says contains wheat and egg ingredients. So it does tell you there. One of the things that I found that I missed is just canned tomato soup. And this is one of the few brands that doesn't have milk in it. I like to add just a little bit of soy milk at the end, and it's perfect. So, of course, you have options of rice and grains and dried beans. I highly recommend you stock up on some staples, such as rice. I prefer brown. These are your dried bean options, and they're really actually super simple to make. You can even freeze them after you make them. So if you don't want to buy canned, that's a better, healthier, cheaper option. Some snackies, some good ones are Nature Valley Crunchy Bars. These are my favorite. We really like these, but you have to read the labels. Not all Nature Valley stuff is vegan. Oats are always a wonderful option in the morning, as are things like grits, cream of wheat. Watch out for the prepackaged quick stuff, though. A lot of that has milk in it, so you just have to read labels. Cereals can get tricky. These oatmeal squares are one of our favorites. However, you have to read packages. Not all of options in the cereal aisle are going to be vegan, and a lot of them are because they say vitamin D. Now, this doesn't specify that it's vitamin D3, so Crackle and Oat Bran is a questionable item. However, Cascadian Farms makes lots of vegan options for cereal, and we love these. They do not contain vitamin D, so they are good to go. D3 is extracted, by the way, from animal product, so that's why it's not vegan, in case anybody is wondering. Another thing you have to look at as a hidden ingredient is gelatin. Not vegan. So now you know.
Welcome back. So I hope that this was very informative for you guys. I could keep going, but I'm going to make smaller segments with more detailed videos later, so you're not watching like an hour-long video. But I hope this was very helpful for you, and I wish you guys a great Veganuary. Bye!
Yo.